All right. It's love it.
Or leave it.
It's your girl Rashida.
Girl ChiCi. You know the vibes.
The vibes are new. ChiCi, what we got today, girl?
A lot. So I guess we could, well, originally our whole reason for this podcast was to be able to show both the light and the dark. I feel like you are more on the light side, and I'm on the light side, but I'm embracing my dark.
Yes.
And I feel like, and I don't want to speak for you, but I just feel like from what we know about each other, I feel like you're facing your dark.
Yes.
And it ain't pretty, girl. Like, not shade towards you. Yeah, it's not, no shade towards you, just in general, when you have to face your shadow, that's a whole nother beast. Like, I named my shadow, so that's how you know, like, my shit was like a whole nother thing. So, but I just really wanted to, like, the whole concept of this was for us to really, who resonates with it. You know, that's why it's called Love It or Leave It. I'm a double Scorpio. I'm a rising Virgo. So you either gonna really love me or you gonna hate me. So it really don't matter to me. Like, it is what it is. Like, resonate with it, you know, love it. If you don't, leave it. It's not for everybody. But really just to like help people just continue to ascend and to understand, like, we human. I feel like a lot of times we forget that during this spiritual journey, like, it's okay to like scream, it's okay to yell. It's not all about, like, especially in the spiritual community, I feel like it went from, you need to be able to go within yourself and figure out who you are. Like, spirituality to me was freedom. I didn't want to be confined to religion. I don't want to follow what everybody else is doing. If I have a guide, that's one thing, but my guide should just be able to just guide me and not tell me this is how you do it. People that I guide today, one of the main things that I say is go with your intuition. I'm a reader. I'm more of a medium and a channeler, but you know, I always say it don't matter what I tell you. You always have to listen to your intuition. And I feel like that's something that was left out of spirituality. But this whole podcast, like, I don't want it to only to be like, you know, we've talked about this, like, it's not going to only be about spirituality. Yeah, some days we're going to talk about some dumb stuff, and we probably going to talk about some dumb stuff mixed in with today's stuff.
For real.
Because that's just our personalities. But, you know, I really wanted to, well, we both really wanted to make sure, like, people can see the light and the dark, and there's nothing wrong with either one. I just have more of a dark humor, you know.
Well,
I'm more like, you know, Rashida, come to the dark.
Come to the dark side. And I'm like, no! Please leave me over here with the good people. Yeah. But I mean, polarity, you know, like, that's the biggest thing too, is like, we have to embrace the polarity. And I'm learning ascension. Like, the one thing I know about ascension is, like, I'm learning, I should say, is that it just never stops. It never stops. You ascend at every level, and then you go to the back of the line each level that you go to. It's like, yes. Yeah, no. Not the front. The back. Yes. Behind him. Yes. Yep. Behind that.
Especially when you really feel like you know shit. That's when spirit is like, you thought, no, go back to that. Because you obviously don't know shit. So you need to go back. You need to go study.
Yes. And we embrace all spectrums of the language, the English and Spanish. So we're going to be saying some words that probably don't sit well with some of our more lighter side folks. This is a very, and when I'm saying light, I'm not saying complexion. I'm saying light as far as the light or the dark, you know.
I'm glad you clarified that.
I'm just saying because that was one thing for me.
My Palo Santo for myself for that one.
Oh, Lord. Okay, well, I'm going to just say it while she gets herself together. That, you know, we are real with this journey. You know, you have to be yourself. You have to meet spirit where you are. Because spirit knows when you're being fake because it's, you know, your higher self is your guide anyway. So your higher self knows when you coming with the bullshit anyway.
I feel like to get home.
Right. Like, no, you can't be the holier than thou because not one person embodies perfection.
No.
You know, we are perfectly imperfect. And that's how we're supposed to be. Yeah.
Sponsored by
water to drink of life.
Life force.
By the way, y'all, we be all over the place. Like these are how
these are
much of what you're getting from us is how we are all the time when we're talking. Like we could have started the conversation about, you know, the sun and we are ending on the moon somewhere. So
in a different galaxy. It's not even in the same galaxy.
Not even in the same galaxy. Not even in the same galaxy, trust me. So but you know, I mean we're doing this as an intro. So my background is in social work. So I'm trained as a clinician. I've been a social worker for about 15 years. So I see all walks of life. You know, I help those who are in need at any stage of their life and development. I've worked with children. I've worked with adults, young adults, those who are in the aged population as well. So that's my background, and I do therapy and assessments on those who have mental health conditions. So that's my passion as well. I love mental health.
I do too.
Mental health as well. So, you know, that's a part of the spirituality journey as well. Like it's all encompassing. But I'll let ChiChi go ahead and do her thing.
So my background is in life.
Yep.
The School of Hard Knocks.
Hey, listen, I had some hard knocks too. Trust me. Don't let the social worker therapist fool you because I done been down some roads. But go ahead, ChiChi.
For real. So I've been doing insurance for a long time. And like helping with like the older people, like that was like, I like the older people, the younger people, and I mean younger people like kids. The in between, sometimes.
Bitch, we in the in between.
I know. I'm still getting myself together.
Yeah,
that tells you a lot. But yeah. So like my background was, I was the whole opposite. I had a moment. I had a period where I didn't even believe in anything. And then out of nowhere, it just became a medium. Like, oh, okay, that's what I'm doing now.
This just that out of nowhere. First of all, no. She skipped. Listen,
that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. Like she was just like, it went from like, why am I still here? Like, just let me get out of here. No, wait, it didn't start off like that. It started off like, I don't believe in anything. We're all going to die. It was very dark, very dark.
Again,
we're all gonna die. It's just gonna be black. To
Lord.
now, I believe in something. And why am I here? This is horrible. I hate this place. Why am I here? To I can speak to people that have crossed over. I can speak to spirit. I can speak to deities. I can speak to higher beings. I can speak. You know, it was like one swing of the pendulum to the other, and it went very well with my personality, because, you know, being a double Scorpio, like, we are either black or white. There's no gray. And during my spiritual journey and the School of Hard Knocks, I learned, you know, like, there's plenty of gray. Like, you need to embrace the gray. So that's me embracing, like, the dark, because I did go from a point where, like, I really believed in everything. And then I was just like, oh my God, I can't think anything bad. I can't say anything bad.
Yeah.
I can't. And that fucked up my throat chakra. So it just made me all messed up. So it was like, no, I can't. So, but yeah, that's a little bit of my background. So.
Okay. Well, y'all might hear stuff in my background because I got kids and I got a dog. So.
Oh yeah, we got some stuff going on over here too. So excuse that.
Please excuse the noise if you hear anything. Yeah, I wanted to start with that. But I also forgot to mention I am a Virgo, but my rising sign is a Leo. We laugh because we got an inside joke about that, but we're going to move on from that part.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on.
For real. Much like ChiChi, though, in terms of my spiritual journey, my dad was a devout Muslim. So from birth until my parents separated and subsequently divorced, I practiced Islam until I was around teenage years. And then I was introduced to the Christian faith. And I got really into that. And like ChiChi said, you know, can't say anything bad, can't do anything bad. Make sure you keep yourself pure. All of that stuff.
And I came out like,
I went through that, but then, you know, I fell back and, you know, slipped and slid and went into the dark side, you know. Went to the dark side and, you know, just went to like not practicing much of anything, still believing in God, but not really, you know, doing much with my spirituality. And then I did go and I got married at one point. When I got married, like, we'll talk about that another day. Anyway,
I got married at one point, but
when I got married, like right before I got married, I was baptized into, you know, a Baptist church or whatever. And, you know, that church,
this is some tea, bitch. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was telling you. Oh, girl, look, I was feeling it all. So yeah, I got baptized in a Baptist church. And it was beautiful though. Like the church to me, and I still listen to some of the, like the online, what do you call preaching session? I'm sorry. Forgive me, y'all. But sermons, there we go. I still listen to some of the online sermons and things like that because that church is very much, it's an African-American based church, but it integrates like a lot of the African, like, the deities and things like that. Like they kind of enmesh a little bit of, you know, like the spirituality and the religion side, and they use the Bible, but they, you know, they do it in a little bit.
What church is this?
Union Temple Baptist Church. Yeah. So, but the reverend who opened that church, while he has retired, his daughter is the one who actually is now the pastor. But, so shouts out to Miss Anika.
Yeah, for real.
It's a dope church. Like, I mean, I still listen to them and I still, you know, I tithe with them, for the give back portion. But anyway, in terms of my spirituality and my spiritual journey, I'm gonna have to be transparent and tell y'all it's embarrassing, but someone someone that I was dating after that, marriage that I talked about, after that ended. Rest in peace.
And not with the
rest in peace to the marriage. I'm just saying, Anyway. Anyway, when that ended and I was dating this
we're gonna have a whole episode on relationships, and I know
we're gonna get into that another day.
Yes,
and I do not badmouth, like, my ex-husband and I, we got 3 kids together, so like, we still working the co-parents and stuff. But anyhow, when I started dating this other person, it was like I was in my head about stuff, and I was like, I need to go see this psychic. So usually what I'll say about this is you usually know, intuitively, when the shit ain't gonna work. But sometimes you go to a place to like get some guidance. But I went and I got more than I was, looking for when I went to that person. That's what opened me up to spirituality and, meditating and, aligning my chakras and, talking to spirit. Like that was an introduction to me and healing my money wounds. Healing. You know what I mean? So, still, we working through the stuff that I needed to work through. So that was about 2 years ago when I started that journey. And I'm here. So we can also talk about how we met. But go ahead, ChiChi. I'm sorry. I feel like you had something to say.
No, that's you, girl. Mm-mm.
Okay. But so how ChiChi and I met, I was in a place of feeling like lost.
Now I was
still in my spiritual journey, still doing, and actually I was using LOA, so the law of attraction, right? I was trying to manifest, and I'm like, I'm doing this right, and I'm seeing the things come through, but then I'm like, I got stuck, and I was like, I don't really know what's going on. Like I felt really lost, having limiting beliefs, self-doubt, all of that. And so backstory about even how I met the individual that I met ChiChi through. I was in this place of like, I'm trying to find myself. I'm trying to find something that resonates with me. I'm doing different jobs and, still in the social work community, but doing different jobs and like, okay, trying to stretch myself. So supervising, doing more therapy, doing coaching, doing all these different things, just trying to find myself. And it was like a challenge every step of the way. And I'm like, okay, this job just kind of came across my lap. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I started the job and I was like, I don't even know. Nope. I don't know if I can do it. Like, I know I'm in this place of like trying to stretch and challenge myself, but y'all, this is the challenge. And I was like, okay, something just kept telling me, stick it out. Like, I just stuck it out. So maybe within a month of starting that position, I met Susan, who is a mutual friend of ours now. And our vibe, she was new to the area. And I was like, okay, so we were cool and, we connected and she would talk to me and she was like, my psychic friend. I was like, psychic friend? I was like, hold up, who the psychic friend,
I'm mad that she used to call me that. Yeah. And then when I asked her about it too, she was like, I always say that my psychic friend, like.
So I was like, ooh, okay, well, I need a second opinion. You know what I mean? I needed some direction, and I had already closed out my work with that other psychic that I had talked to, 2 years prior. So.
Jesus. Sorry.
All right, shady lady. So I closed out. We're going to tell y'all about that another day. But today we just, it's an intro. So anyway, I closed out my work with her and I was like, feeling lost, yada, yada. Met Susan, wanted to do another reading. And ChiChi can explain how she does her reading. So I want her to explain how she does it.
So we're gonna talk about that first, like how I actually do my readings or how I got into it.
Well, no, I was just gonna say like how, still talking about how we met, but like,
okay,
just the steps that you told me to take initially before we even spoke.
Oh yeah. So I'm real funny about making sure that you don't okay. So as a medium, and a channeler, I do tarot and I read cards and stuff, but for the most part, I definitely am able to tap in and tap out. So I don't know how everybody else does it, but in my experience, what I do is I don't have to know the other person's name. So if just for example, so Susan was telling me, oh, my friend at work, she wants to get a reading done. And so the way that I can explain is I put my toe in the water. You know how you test out the water? I put my toe in the water and I'm okay. And then I get a certain amount of information that will tell me, okay, this person is very practical. She's very skeptical. She needs confirmations all the time. She needs certain things done. So I don't in general, I don't want no one to know, I don't want to know your name, your first, your last name. I don't want to know. You can give me your number. And I don't even want your number until the day of. I don't want any information on you. Because I want you to know. So even if you aren't practical, even if you are open, I just want it to be even more of a confirmation that I'm being used as a vessel and that there's no way, especially in the age that we're in this age where all our information is out there. And I want people to understand, if they come to me for guidance, if they come to me for a reading, they're getting the most authentic reading that they could possibly get. So I don't want to know your name. It's hard for me because I have people on my Facebook or on my Instagram that will ask me for a reading. And I feel kind of weird about it because I don't want them to feel oh, she got this from this. You know what I mean? So I'm very funny about that. I don't want to know any of your information until the day of the reading. At the day of the reading, I already know what I need to know about you just from putting my toe in the water. So I will let you know ahead of time. Don't tell me nothing. we ain't allowed to talk. Now you can call me as much as you want after the reading. After the first reading, listen, I'm gonna help you on your journey. I'm gonna help you because I want to build that trust. But before that, it's no, I don't want nothing. I don't want anything in your mind because we're practical beings and we've been conditioned to believe that there's some type of, there has to be something else. Even when we have confirmations, right, that happen to us, and it can happen dead in front of us. We can literally see a ghost talk to us, right? Literally a ghost talk to us, and somehow our mind will be that wasn't
someone projected that ghost there.
Yeah. I'm losing my mind. There's something wrong with me. I need to go seek help. You know what I mean? No, bitch, you saw a ghost. That's what you saw. The ghost was talking to you. That's what it was. And so because of that, because I know, especially because my chart is ruled by Mercury, with Virgo, I know how I think. And as a as a person that's an overthinker and a practical and logical person, practical and logical does not go, they don't mix with the spiritual realm until you start doing your actual research. I'll say in the beginning of it, it doesn't mix, but the more you do research, the more you start finding out the truth of things. The more you look behind the veil, or through the veil, you'll start seeing like how it connects. But before that, in the beginning, it's different. So because I know all of this, and I knew how crazy I felt when I started being able to just know stuff, like I was like, okay, when I start doing readings, I know how I felt, and I don't want the other person to be like, oh, you got that just from my date of birth. Because there's so much that you can get off of a person's date of birth. Give me your date of birth. All I have to do is look up your date of birth, and I can tell you, oh, okay, so she's a Virgo. So I can give you a general read. My readings are not general. I go in depth, and not only do I go in depth, I go into your subconscious. So with great power comes great responsibility. And when I go into your subconscious, so like even when I'm dabbing my toe in the water, the reason why I'm able to do that is because I can literally go into the person that I'm talking to, like Susan, and go into her subconscious and know who she's talking about, and already know. I don't have to know her name, and I'm very specific about that. Don't tell me the person's name, and you know this because you had a friend, and I was like, don't tell me nothing about this person. I don't want to know nothing.
And y'all, we talked for months, mind you, before she did that reading. So it was like if I was about to say something about my friend, I was like, I couldn't tell her.
The first thing, the first
afterwards, said, like, okay.
The first thing you said was, I was like, I remember you were like, my best friend, and I was like, wait. Is this somebody that I'm ever going to do a reading on? And you were like, yeah, probably. Then I don't want to know nothing about her. You can't tell me no stories about her until I do her reading. After that, you can tell me whatever else you want to tell me about her.
Right.
But yeah, we were talking for a while about that. But it was just very much like that. And I don't mind, like, I'm not one of those people that are like, $10 per question. Like, no, like, hit me up after the reading, because when I go into your subconscious, not only do I go in, I remove those self-limiting beliefs. Like you stated, like, I don't know if you even mind talking about this, but there was like certain things that you had just mentioned that you were trying to guide yourself with, or trying to find guidance with that. And you had all the answers already. You just needed to really realize that for yourself. And all I did was just show you, like, hey, I'm not Jesus. I'm just the vessel. Okay. I'm just the messenger, and I'm not someone to be worshipped or anything like that. Not to say that you were worshiping me, but just in general, like, that was one of my first things that I told you, like, hey, I'm gonna guide you, but I'm gonna guide you to yourself, like, where you realize who you are. And like, these things I'm not going to bring into your life. They're already within you. I'm just allowing you to really realize that for yourself. I'm helping you to unlock those things inside of you. So yeah, the readings with me be kind of crazy.
Yeah, because they like, so ChiCi is an activator, which means, you're going to unlock a lot of things, after you have a reading with her. And this is not like free promo, really.
Not free promo. Sponsored by.
Sponsored by. I'm a living example. But no, like, she's gonna unlock those gifts that you already have within yourself. And because when I had my first reading with her, she's like, yeah, you have psychic ability. And I was like, I've been told that, but I don't really know. Like, I don't really know. But now I really know. Now I know, like, there are gifts, that I'm still, that I'm embracing and learning to harness, and working through them. But yeah, I mean, a reading with ChiCi is like that the doorway is open. And there's so much that you'll gain from it, so much clarity that you'll get about, questions that you have. But really, like, I'm just so grateful to have met her, and, we soul family. So
yes. And let me tell you, okay, so you guys, y'all don't even know. It was so crazy because like when I did her reading, I was so like, okay, so in the beginning before, right, I had been like stalling for like that week.
Yeah, what the hell was that about?
So I was going through like a serious ass transition. And like, so in the beginning of my journey, I realized that I could move, and this is going to sound crazy for people that don't really understand it, but I realized I could like move energetically through dimensions. So I could like hop in and out. And I was like, oh shit, like that's like a superpower. Like, what the hell? And because of that, that kind of like made it like fun and scary at the same time. Damn, I just lost the question. What was the question?
I don't know. Listen, y'all, I'm fasting today, so
this is normally how the conversations go, just to let you know.
But no, we were talking about, because I was talking about like the when you did my reading and opening up the gifts, and then
yeah. So
going through dimensions and all of that.
Okay, so with you, it was so much easier though. Like,
the question was, why were you stalling?
So with you, I was going through like a serious transition because like I knew I was able to go in and out of dimensions. I knew I could go into the plane of when people transition over and they pass over. That's why I say I'm more of a medium and a channeler, because I can go into different pockets and stuff like that. Different dimensions, different pockets. And so when I realized those parts of me, when I was going through this transition, I was like, I can't read. Like, it wasn't even like I can't read. I could read, but I was even like, I don't want to say that I was scared, but I was at the same time, because I was like, I know intuitively. Oh, I say intuitively, I'm going through the transition, and I'm a read, and I did have like a little fear of like, as I'm reading for another person, should I like, I was doing grounding work, but I was still like really understanding my body and understanding like the ebbs and flows of my own energetic body. And when I should be, when I should do that.
Basically,
I knew I was going to give you. Yeah, like because like when my gift first came in, it was like so like some people have to like slowly go into it. And it's always depending on your personality. My personality, like I said, being a double Scorpio, I was very black or white. So it made sense why it was like, boom, there you go, all your gifts. Like, what? Hold up. I can hear stuff. I can see stuff. What is going on? Now I can see stuff when I was little, but I ignored that as I got older. I was like, nah, that's not, you know what I mean? And so anyways, during that whole transition phase, I was like every weekend, or that first weekend was like, yeah, okay. And then it came to that day and I was like, nope, can't do it. It was just, my body was just like, nope, can't do it. And then the second weekend I felt it again, but I felt more so like I had to push through it. Like, no, you're going to push through this and get, like, it was like more like spirit was just telling me like, you need to like push through the fear. You're going to be all right. Like, this is just part of the process. So I went ahead and I did the reading, and in the reading, it was funny because, before that, because I knew you were practical, I told you, and skeptical. And it's so funny because your energy, when I first put my toe in, and my ears ringing, and girl, you know that happens. Like, it be all sorts of spiritual stuff happening. You be trying to hold down a whole conversation. Like, y'all just chill for a second. Just chill. Like,
be like,
God, 333. Like, wait, what?
What?
Squirrel. Oh, you always feel like you have ADD. Like, anyways.
Yes.
So when I did the reading, when I first did the reading, or before I did the reading, I had told her, because when I looked into her energy, or I put my toe in, I was like, oh, she's very practical, very logical. She's very, and the best way for me to explain is, like I said, I go into a person's subconscious, and through their subconscious, through the person that I'm speaking to, through their subconscious, it's like I go into the ethers, and that's how I get the information. And that's just the way that I see it. Now, everybody else has their own journey and their own way of doing their things, but that's how it comes to me. That's how it looks like to me. Mm-hmm. So anyways, during your, when I put my toe in, it was like, she's practical, she's logical, she's skeptical, but she's open-minded. I was like, I thought I was a walking contradiction. Like, what? So the first thing I said was, I need you to specifically give spirit a confirmation. Like, you want to hear this. And when you hear this in your reading, you'll know that what I'm saying is real. Mm-hmm. Now, she couldn't give me her name. I still didn't know her name at this time. I still didn't know her name. Okay. Yeah. I didn't want nothing else. I had like rules on top of rules on top of rules. I was like, Susan, did you tell her this?
It was like the Matrix. Is this a clean mind?
Exactly.
I was like, damn.
Is it secure? Like, yeah. But it was crazy because when I did do your reading, as soon as I gave you what you needed to hear, boom, walls came down. Like, I instantly felt your walls come down. So okay. I didn't know what it meant because the way like, it came through, it didn't make no sense. But I was like, but when I felt it come down, I was like, oh, okay, so this was something. This was what she needed to hear. Mm-hmm. But in that reading, I was like, oh, I manifested her. She's soul family. And it was so funny because it was the second time that we spoke, and I was like, just to let you know, you're soul family. Do you remember that? I was so excited. Like, yeah.
Yes, girl.
Because I've been screaming into the void for a minute now. And y'all always
see, that's how y'all know, like, your manifestations, you know, the things that you're working on, it doesn't come when you expect or want it, right? It's just like divine timing. We still learning divine timing. Yes. But you know, it really doesn't come when you say you need to magically appear right now. It's like, okay. Yep. We heard you. But it comes.
Yeah, it's gonna come, but no, you still got to work on this. And sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes it's like, whoop, like, oh crap, how did that happen? Well, you was ready for it.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't have any lessons to learn from that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was pretty dope though. And then that's when our journey started together.
Yes. But we were discovering, you know, things about ourselves like along the way. I think, you know, maybe ChiChi, maybe your guard was up a little bit at the same time. I don't know.
No. I will say no, only because I read you. So I knew your heart was pure. You know what I'm saying? Because I will not play like okay, so being a medium, and you know this because I say this all the time, like I really feel like as a medium, as a channeler, like being able to go into someone's subconscious is definitely not something that anyone should be able to take for granted, nor should they abuse.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even realize that as a manipulator, you're going into somebody's subconscious. You're reading them. You're being able to read them, and you're going to know what next move to make. Now, before I ascended, I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I always knew I was 3 steps ahead of you. Like, oh, okay. And I'm talking about, this is just in my own situation in relationships. Oh, I was coming for you. And I was going to do that sneak attack. Like, I'm 3 steps ahead of you. Like that, you was going to get it. But that just smacked me back in the face. You know what I'm saying? So thank God I'm out of that part. But you know, what? Lord, I definitely don't want to be back there. I embrace my dark, okay? But embracing my dark has nothing to do with actually becoming dark. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference. I embrace my shadow. I accept the things that I've forgiven myself. I accept the things that I've done in the past. But it was definitely a crazy journey, like, because we were able to grow. And one thing that was so awesome about our friendship was, like, I always stated, like, I'm not above you. I just know a little bit more than you. You gonna be right here next to me. Like, that's it. Like, I never look at people that I guide like someone that I can't learn from. Cause I'm like, what is his name? Tony Robbins. I'm not your guru. Like, I'm still learning too. You know what I'm saying? Like, we both experiencing this. So there's stuff that I can definitely learn from people. Even people that haven't, quote unquote, had their spiritual awakening, I can still learn from. So I have an open mind about it. And there were so many times during our friendship that we were both like, well, what about this? Like, well, God, shut up, bitch. Like, why you shut up? I don't want to know about, like, why are you going that deep?
And listen, when ChiChi does because when you're doing a reading, you have to be able to move your ego to the side. So that you can receive the messages from spirit to channel, to be used as a vessel and channel those messages to you. And there's plenty of times that I'll be like, let me put myself on mute because I'm about to cuss your ass
out. But it's not stuff that you didn't know already. Like, it's already stuff that it was just like, oh, Lyra, I knew that's what it was. God, like, it's not stuff.
You have a whole tantrum.
You sure did several times. So did I. In the beginning of my little dark side of really facing my shadow, I was like, I got the lighters, I got the matches. Where's the gas? I'm gonna light this whole world on fire. Like, I'm done with it. Like, I'm ready to be out of here. It's just part of the ease and flows of life.
Yes, those ebbs and those flows be. Ooh, damn! Why the dip gotta be so low though? Like.
But you know what? Like, it's like forcing us to go deeper within ourselves.
Yeah.
The only thing is, like, I be like arguing back with spirit, like, I'm a bottomless ocean. Stop. Like, a Scorpio, like, we are the depths of the depths. Like, I don't look at a pen without thinking, like, could this have been the pen that Maya Angelou used, the same ink? Like, bitch, it's a pen. Put the pen down. It's okay. It's not that serious. Like, let it go.
But I appreciate that about, your personality though, ChiChi, because sometimes we need that, like, just to, spark something within us. You know what I mean? To go deeper.
Yeah, you make me go deeper too.
Living.
But you deep too, because you be. But so, and then it's funny too, because the way that you ask questions is like, so, what does that question. I'm like, oh, here we go. Here's the bullshit. What? Go ahead. I'm an open book. Go ahead. So do you think that you did that because of this or girl, because I felt like it. That's why. Okay, so we're back at the beginning. Yeah, we back at the beginning. 101. Yeah, we back at 101. Because we both teaching each other. So
yes, it's a journey.
Back at the beginning.
It's a journey, you know.
Just like going through this, understand that like the more you know, the more you realize you don't know shit.
Exactly. Like we were listening to the other day we were listening to Erykah Badu. Her interview.
Yo, she had words.
Yo, Erykah. Oh, I love her because she just when she said, the more you go through this, like, more you don't know shit. And I've learned, like, damn, like, I don't know shit.
Yeah, for real.
You know, it's just about learning and taking things in. But one thing that you may have felt a certain way about 2 days ago, today you may feel totally different about it. Like, again, you know, this ascension journey.
That's one thing that I can definitely appreciate about you was that, like, learning, like, I don't have to stay in that. Because when I first met you, you were positive Polly. And I was like, I'm just really facing my shadow. Like, this bitch is evil. I don't like her. I don't like nothing about her. Like, I named her for a reason.
For real.
But, well, damn, bitch, not the shade.
I'm sorry. I was hyping you up. You know what I mean? But yes, so you named your shadow.
Yeah, so one thing that I really appreciated about your friendship was like you really like showed me like you know, like we've talked about this before, but like we know to our detriment. A lot of times we know stuff. It's just like when we talk to our parents, right? And our parents are like, don't do this. And we're like, I know. And you still go do it anyways. Mm-hmm. So even though you know something, sometimes knowing is to your detriment. And so like, I knew, I don't have to. I knew the law of attraction. I knew the law, you know, the laws of the universe. And I really thought I was practicing them. But being, you know, with, you know, being around you and really understanding that what I was going through, was something. I'm so sorry. My kids just don't know how to act, so I do apologize about that. But something that I really appreciated but at least your kids got an excuse. Mine are older, okay? So, but anyways, don't leave that one alone. Hi, babies.
Right, love y'all.
Love you. Love you. But one thing I appreciate about you was like you would really like get to like she would do like her therapy thing on me, you know, get to the root of it, like. So why do you feel like that? But what bothers you about that? And I'd be like, I don't know. I'm just mad. Like, it just makes me angry. Well, why do you feel like that? I don't know. But she would make me like have to dig deeper. And then it was like one more chain was free. Like, it was just like, okay, well, I ain't like it, but I'm free. So thank you. I appreciate you.
For real. Yes. Listen, this is a therapeutic, spiritual, you know, it's just, the friendship that we have is just like, not even just a friendship. It's like a sisterhood, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's a genuine connection. It's hard to find genuine people these days.
For real. Because people be always wanting something or they abuse your kindness or like, you know what I'm saying? Or they take your kindness for weakness or, you know what I'm saying? They think that you know, that when you are too kind, that you just don't know better, or you know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of people they're just waking up. Like they don't know these things. They're not aware of these things. Like I was on my ascension journey already for 2 years, and I just started, well, not just started, I would say like 16 months after I started on my journey was when I really started facing my shadow. And I was like, oh, that's an ugly bitch. Like, no.
For real.
No, thank you.
Yo, the shadow is like the abyss sometimes though, right?
What? It tells you so much because it's meant for you to transform and turn into your superpower. Like it really is, because like, again, like one of my traits with my shadow was manipulation. Being able to read somebody and be 3 steps ahead of them. With facing my shadow and embracing my shadow, I was able to transform that and actually use that to help people so that they can understand themselves better to move forward. So, you know.
Ooh, she said a word. Wow.
So that's why I embrace
shadow. Like that's dope though. Like to think about using your shadow, but in a way that's helpful for other people. You know,
absolutely.
I haven't really heard it like that before.
Oh,
because I'm still working.
I truly believe that your worst attributes of your shadow is your superpower. You just need to learn how to. But these are my beliefs. Let me just make sure people understand that these are my own beliefs. You know, again, spirituality has turned into this thing where it's like a religion. Like, no, this is not how it is. No, spirituality is supposed to be my truth. This is my truth. You have your truth, and you have your truth. Now, if you resonate with my truth, you resonate with my truth. But it's still like you have your own truth. And even with us, like you have your own truth, your own beliefs. I don't judge you for them. I just be like, yeah, I don't believe that.
That don't resonate with me. I'm like, damn.
And the same thing. Like I'll be like, this is how I feel. Like, nah, I don't believe that. Okay. That's what I believe.
Well, you could go over there and believe what you believe.
That's the shady shit that comes out. Like,
for real,
you go sit your ass over there and believe whatever you believe. Like, no.
But it does make you think. Like, I appreciate other perspectives as well, more now than I used to. You know, like on a spiritual journey. As we were saying before, like when we were talking about Erykah Badu and how she was like, the more you learn, the more you know. You don't know shit. You know, and but anyway, yeah, that's the thing that I do appreciate about the spiritual journey is that you can learn what other people's views are, and it's okay to be like, oh, okay. Like even, you know, in my therapeutic work, I always try to meet the person where they're at because they, you know, it's their walk, it's their journey. Therapy ain't about me. You know what I'm saying? So it's about where they are at and trying to embrace that and bring out the best of them from where they are, you know? So, yeah.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah. Oh, Lord. What the hell are you going to ask me now? No, when she can ask you a question, I'll be like, okay.
That's
how much work do I have to do? How much spiritual work do I have to do?
No. So what would you say is the biggest difficulty that you have with your therapy and spirituality?
So for me with therapy, the most challenging thing is not using my spiritual practices and not using my gifts that are coming in. It's hard to sit in a session and spirit speaks to your heart. So it's like, spirit's like, okay, say this. And I'm like, they're not going to receive that spirit. Nope. Because then they're going to be like, well, how do you know that? You know, like, what else would say? Oh, yeah, I'm psychic. But then you got to contend with people who have different religious beliefs, and they may feel offended by that. They may be like, let me get the cross out, because when they hear psychic, some people get offended by that. They feel like, oh, you're evil. You know what I mean? Like you're doing demonic work. Like, no, I'm not. Trust me. I'm the one with the Palo Santo and
exactly. I'm the one with the same
and the energy, any negative energy. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Like, I'm bringing the positive with the Palo. I'm releasing with the sage. Like, I don't want no. I do not get along with the lower entities. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do. But some people
clear about embracing the dark does not mean that I embrace the lower entities either.
Right, so that's a difference. Like, let's talk about that. Because when we say embrace the dark, we're talking about all parts of ourselves. The parts that we may feel shame from. Like, no, don't feel shame. Right. What can you learn from the dark? So for me, like, working in the therapeutic world, and then me also coming into these psychic gifts now, it's like, ooh.
Oh, but we got to go back. What did I say? You didn't come into them. They was already there. You just started acknowledging them now.
Yeah. Yeah. As I have begun to acknowledge the gifts, things have opened up, third eye's opening, crown chakra, is opening. And it's like, ooh. And the messages come through more clearly, but I still have to temper that part of myself in therapy. So this is even an outlet for me, like, that I'm like embracing, because, I can't really do this in my sessions. And there are also, rules, you're bound by your board and all that. So you really can't be up in your sessions talk about certain things.
So are you allowed to talk about, like, if they are, so the farthest that you can go is that, what are your religious beliefs, and then it's cut off from there? Or
you can ask them, and then you can gauge, because you believe this, do you actually use your spiritual beliefs to help you, through whatever things that you're trying to work through. So I try to ask them, like, how do you use your spirituality to help yourself? And some people like, I don't use it at all. Or, I grew up Catholic, but I don't practice that right now. I don't believe anything. And when they say that, it's just like, okay, I meet them where they are. So wherever they are, I meet them there. And sometimes you can kind of like drop a word here and there to see how they'll respond to it. I ain't giving y'all my tricks away. I'm just saying. Drop a word here and there just to see how, But clairsentient is a part of therapy too, though. Like, I didn't realize that until I came into this world. But it's like, I get the feeling that you That's clairsentient. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, a knowing. It's just a knowing sometimes that you just know, like, yeah, based on your background, and sometimes, these are the things that typically happen. Did you experience this when you were younger? And it's just a knowing. But yeah. Anyway. But ChiChi is like she does therapy on her own too. It's like, to me, I look at her readings as therapeutic. You know what I mean? It's just a different way of getting messages to people and opening them up and having them dig deeper and pulling out the things within themselves that, maybe they're not happy with, maybe they want to work on, maybe even gifts that they have, you know what I mean? Like, really opening people up. So that's therapeutic in my eyes as well. Yeah. But
did that challenge you as a therapist? Did that make you more skeptical about the spiritual realm, knowing all the education that you had?
Which part though? You said what it made me more skeptical.
like when you started opening up to spirituality?
Yeah, when I started opening up to spirituality, it made me look at the therapy world like, yo, we just out here, some of us, you know what I mean? Just not really fully tapping in the way that we can, to help people. So that has been like, I've been honest with you about that. Like, that's a struggle for me to not be able to really fully embrace my gifts, to be able to help people the way that I know that I could help them more if I were able to use the gifts in the therapeutic setting.
So, but what I meant was when you first started on your spiritual awakening journey, would you say that what was it like knowing all the information that you knew about therapy? Because a lot of people that go through spiritual awakenings, they feel crazy. Did you feel at any time that you were like, oh my God, I think I have a mental illness. Like, I think I need to be, you know what I'm saying? Because you guys have so much education in it. Like, I feel like it could go either way. Like, it could be like, nah, I know that even though I'm experiencing this right here, this is something short and temporary and there's nothing wrong with me. Or, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. Did you feel like that as you started on your spiritual awakening?
Well, there's several different answers to that question. Like, so for one thing that I will say is what it made me think about was there are so many people out here who have mental health conditions that probably had spiritual awakenings that just hadn't been able to harness those gifts in a way that they, could use them to benefit, the greater good of themselves. Right. So like hearing voices or seeing things, like maybe those are things that people had spiritual gifts that were coming in and they just didn't know how to tap in it in a way that was helpful, and so it felt like they were like totally like, they succumbed to, all of the things that they were hearing and seeing. So I don't think that all mental health, at least that's just my view. I'm not speaking for the APA and all of that. Like, I'm not speaking for anybody else. This is my personal opinion. Okay. So I'm not speaking as a licensed anybody. On my personal journey, this is just something that I was like, a thought came to my mind. And I'm like, I think that some people who have diagnosed conditions is just really more about them not being able to harness those gifts in a way. So that was one thought that came to me. Another thought on the journey is on your ascension journey, you do experience the lows and the highs. Okay. So you may feel depressed. You may feel manic. You know what I mean? Like, cause you're going up and down and you may feel those things. Like some days I'm like, oh my gosh, like, ooh, it's a hard day. Like I'm pushing because I just feel drained because I'm in a, what do we call it, ChiChi? When you're in the ascension process and you're spiraling.
Yeah,
spiraling. You're on a spiral, right? Because, and I know like it's about polarity. So you're trying to complete a specific cycle within your ascension journey. And, but mentally you feel drained, you feel, down, you feel sad. So that looks like depression. You know what I mean? And then, when you kind of go on the upswing and you are feeling better, it's like, okay, I got to clean my house. I got to, I got to save the house. I got to follow something else. I got to do this. And then you're cleaning frantically and like, oh, I look a little hypomanic. You know what I mean? Like it just looks differently. But I try not to get stuck in the, oh, am I going crazy? The dreams that come through or the things that you see, like you'll start seeing stuff because you're lowering your, that the veil pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So things are going to start to come through. And, but I'm not looking at it like, oh, this is a part of mental health. I'm looking at it like, this is my spiritual journey,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So, but yeah. What about you?
Oh, I thought I was going batshit. I was like, okay, so that's it. I'm done. Like,
but you know, the difference
really
though, I had you to be along that way. Cause when I started seeing and hearing all that, I didn't get that with the first person. You know, for me, it was more about, I could feel energetically when I'm in a meditative state, like, oh, you know, this feels good. I'm seeing the pyramids and stuff like that when I'm in meditation. Like I'm astral traveling, which I didn't realize what I was doing, but I was doing that. And, you know, I was experiencing that part. But when I met ChiChi and she introduced me to, you know, she broke me open pretty much, right? Cracked me open. And so you know, I was flooded with all these other things, but I also had her along my journey to be able to, what is this? What is that? You know, I've seen this and I've seen that. And it didn't make me feel crazy because she was like, yep, I remember that too. So I'm sorry, I didn't want to hijack your spot, but I just wanted to clarify, like that was, the difference was that I had her, which you didn't, right? You didn't have that person.
I didn't have that person. And then I had everybody next to me gaslighting the hell out of me. Mm-hmm. So it was like, so why is grandma telling me that? And so your dad is saying da. And they're like, everybody around me was like, she's really lost it. Like, it was only until I had found out some very personal information about one of my children. Like, we were just having a normal conversation, and I'm not gonna get into details to what it was, but it just like, oh, of course, like that's why you feel like this because it's that. And then it was like, wait, what the? Hold up! And then it was the first time that my kids were like, okay, I'm gonna need you and Spirit to get out of my business. Like, why did you know that? And I was like, I don't know, but I don't want to know anymore. But yeah, I definitely felt crazy, because I had saw stuff. My first experience was literally laying in bed, and it was crazy because the night before I had told Spirit, I told God, I was like, all right, if you real, I need to know, like, this is it. Like, this is end game for me. I need you to show me. Like, I need to see it. Now, mind you, before that, I was very contradictive because I was like, I don't want to see nothing. Because I had a lot of trauma growing up and seeing lower entities, hearing stuff and all sorts of stuff. And I had just, you know, told Spirit, like, well, I told God, like, you know, I want to see you. Like, I want to know that you're real. And I woke up, it was like 3:00 in the morning, you know, where they say it's the devil's hour. It's not actually the devil's hour. It's actually when the spiritual realm is actually able to speak to you. Because it's not as much going on unless you work at night, you know what I'm saying? But most of the time, that's the easiest time to get through to you. And I just literally just asked, you know, like God to be with me that night. At that time I was fighting, issues with my addiction. Cause I did have, addiction issues. And I just asked God, like, if you real, like, just show me that you're real. And that's it. Like, I'm done with all the BS. Like, I just need to know that you're real. And at 3:00 in the morning, I wake up and my honey, he very into like Bruce Lee and like all about the chi and the Tao and all of that. And no disrespect when I was saying that, but I just don't know too much about that. But he was very into like, you know, meditating, and he would tell me to do stuff like that. And I would be like, I'm not doing that. Like, leave me alone. I was not with it. And so I wake up in the middle of the night. All I think in my head is like, yo, if he is smoking weed in our bedroom, it's about to, and I don't even know if I'm even allowed to say that, but if he's smoking anything other than what he should be, okay, you know, it's gonna be a problem. But I couldn't smell anything, but it looked smoky in the room. And so and all I heard was, so I literally thought like he had woke up in the middle of the night, he got up to do some meditation, and he was doing breathing exercises. I didn't want to bother him if that's what he was doing. So I had the blanket over me. So 30 minutes go by. Mind you, I gotta use the bathroom, I gotta pee. So I'm looking at the clock like, okay now, like you done been in there for 30 minutes, like I can't hold it no more. I take off the blanket and I look over, and it is literally my honey's energetic spiritual body over him, going like this. And the first thing I do is I look over and I was like, oh, hell no. I just put the blanket right over my head. I was like, nope.
You didn't ask for the confirmation and didn't want to see it.
What? I was like, no. Then I wake up the next day and I wasn't scared. Like, I knew instantly. I was like, that was spirit. Like, I never understood what people meant when they said like, oh, I felt like the Holy Spirit. Like, damn, is something wrong with me? I've never felt the Holy Spirit. Like, you know, like, I've never seen the Holy Spirit. But in that moment, I knew, I was like, oh my God, that's spirit, you know? And, it was the craziest thing, cause then the next day I felt like my heart was like, I felt like a damn Care Bear. Like everywhere I was just pointing my heart to, I just felt everything. And I was like, oh my God, everything's so beautiful. Oh my God. And that started the whole thing. But even during that, like everybody was just looking at me crazy. And I was like, am I going crazy? Like, how does like everybody not see this? Like, how am I the only one seeing all this stuff going on? You know, so I definitely felt crazy because I didn't have anyone next to me that was like on the journey that was, you know, and I used to cuss out my higher self. Don't do that.
Please don't do that.
I don't know who you are. Y'all don't know who you are until you know who you are. And when you know who you are, you cuss yourself out. You be like, I'm so sorry.
Yep. Self-love, though. That's why, you know, when you talk about, like, don't talk down on yourself. Like, yeah, because you are speaking to like your higher self too. And you don't know who your higher self is. Once you discover that, maybe y'all out there, some of y'all have, but if you're like new to the journey, we wanted you. Don't.
Like, I mean, if you need to take out some stuff, take some, you know, take some anger out, write some stuff down. Like, I don't want you to bypass whatever you going through.
Yeah.
But I would tell you, like, when I realized who I was as a higher being, my higher self, like who my higher self was, it was, I will never be the same. So my higher self again. Because I used to be like, you selfish, you only all you care about is expansion. I'm over here suffering. Like, oh, I was in so much of the victim mentality. Oh, Lord.
For real. Yep. But now, today is a new day.
It's a new day. Mm-hmm. But it was definitely, I definitely felt like I was going crazy. And I was like, if I don't find my soul family, like, I feel like I'm going to lose myself. Because everyone around me was like so stuck in the 3D. And I was like, I would actually like go into meditation and be like, why would you send me to go first? Like, why am I the first one out of my whole family? Like, why didn't both of us wake up at the same time? you know, like somebody else around me, you know, but I just kept on, you know, manifesting and just asking, like, you know, God, like, universe, like, please send to my soul family. Please send to my soul family. Like, it's so lonely. It's so alone. But, the longer I was on the journey, the more I realized, like, oh, so that was part of my lesson. Like, I was going to be like the first one by myself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And to me, it's an honor now. Yeah, girl, I volunteered. That wasn't me. That was my higher self. That was one of the times that, you know, we gonna leave that one alone because I'm not doing that again. You gotta follow something real quick.
For real. I'm not even messing with you on that one.
But other than that, like, if it wasn't for that, but you know, I did have issues with, you know, addiction, and mental illness was something that was serious in my family. So, that didn't help the situation either, you know, making me feel like maybe I am going crazy. What if I am going through, you know what I'm saying? Something that's deeper and I don't even know it, you know? But it was part of the journey. It was part of the spiral, because then when I came out, I'm one of those people that, like, once I know something, oh, I'm coming out swinging. Like, no, you can't tell me nothing now, you know. And I had that moment where I was like, you've been lying to me this whole time, gaslighting the hell out of me. Like, yo, like, and I did. I came out swinging, and I started understanding, like, the deeper that I went within myself, the more I understood, like, some people don't realize these things about themselves, and they may not resonate with what you're saying at that moment. Mm-hmm. And they may not be gaslighting you. They may really just not know that about themselves. But it's easy for you to see because you've already ascended. You started embracing your gifts. You started really, like, you know, knowing, like, what the gifts are, and knowing how to use them, you know. But yeah, to answer that question, I definitely felt batshit crazy, and I no longer do.
For real. Yes. So what are we going to be talking about on the podcast, though? Just let people know what our goal is here.
Well, what's one of your goals? I'll throw it back at you.
Well, I think, you know, for me, while it can be cathartic for us to, you know, release, I mean, hey, it's a journey for all of us. But, you know, discussing expansion, what's next for us, what's coming up, you know, what are the things that we are working on spiritually. But I think it's better to do this together, like as a collective, so that we can, you know, raise the consciousness. At least that's part of my goal. I know obviously that's ChiChi's goal too, but yeah, that's mainly what I'm here to do, is just work on that with her.
Yeah, I want to talk about everything. I want to talk about love. I want to talk about bullshit. I want to talk about I got one foot in the spiritual realm and one foot in 3D realm. So I'm with it. I'm with it all. I want to talk about it all. Everything that we go through. You know, just life in general. There's so much. And that's why, you know, like, the name of the channel was Astrofluentkulture, because I didn't want it to be just one thing. Like, while we are going to be talking a lot about spirituality, and consciousness, like, there's other stuff that we go through that we don't talk about, you know. Yeah. And I want us to, one of the goals that I want for this podcast is to be the bridge, you know, we bridge those gaps
Yeah.
That's one thing. But yeah, exactly. Definitely feel like it's gonna be a fun journey though, because I be with the bullshit.
Yes. And like we so Spirit is real funny because Spirit will humble you, with the quickness. Like I was like, a podcast, like it came to me even before I met ChiChi. It was something that I wanted to do, but I was like, but me, like, I don't really like being in the front. Like, I'm just so used to like, I'm like the camera woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get your angles. I'm gonna see, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna bring out that, ooh, that's a good angle. Like, I'm gonna bring that out the best of you. You know what I mean? But this isn't about bringing out the best of me. It's about the collective. You know what I mean? It really is. But this was like a challenge for us to, okay, y'all coming from the back of the class now. Yep. 1 and 2, yep. Come from the back of the class, and y'all gonna be sat right out front, so that we can,
I was hiding in the back with the hoodie on, like,
yep, cool. Tight though, like only could see my eyes.
Glasses, you couldn't even see my eyes. I had the sunglasses on, like I'm paying attention. I raised my hand, answer, but I
don't call on
back
me.
of the class,
like the teacher. ChiChi, Rashida, like,
I'll answer the question from here. I'll answer the question from here. No,
you gotta come
need you to present. No, I don't want to present. I don't want to present.
No, yeah, but
yeah, it was definitely coming out of the comfort zone because even doing readings and it's still something personal and something intimate, to have to like be out in the front. Like, I've done modeling and stuff like that. And it's funny because I literally did that just to show myself that anything was possible, not even knowing like it was going to be part of my journey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But even then, like, it's so funny because even my intention then was like, I don't want to be in the forefront. And it sounds very contradictory, right? Like, well, why are you modeling? Why are you doing acting jobs? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that if you don't want to be in the forefront? Like, I wasn't there. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing it just to do it. I was literally just like, I just want to prove to myself that I'm able to do whatever I put my mind to. But once I started on the journey, it was like, okay, I'm up in the front, but no, you're not. You're still in the back. Like you've been hiding. Like no, but I've been helping people. Yes, you've been helping people, but you're still in the back. You being called to the front. So I feel like there's a lot of people that are being called to the front of the class, and it's just that calling.
Yeah.
The front of the class may not be always the same thing. Like we both felt it in our heart to do a podcast, but that doesn't mean that that's everyone's thing. You know what I'm saying? Your calling could be, you're being called to become a doctor and you've already done 4 years in school that has nothing to do with medical. Right. And now you're like, wait, hold up. This is not even what I was going to school for. How you going to change up on me? Like, now I'm being called to become a doctor? So everybody's being called to the forefront is not always the same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think it's going to be dope. I want to have, I definitely want to have guests that can like spit knowledge to us as well, cause I'm very open on receiving and, I don't think there's anyone that I can't learn from.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm learning that too. You can learn from everybody. Even when I, talk to my clients, it's like, damn, That's a word. Let me write that down. You know what I mean?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, with ChiChi, it's like the whole conversation. I'd be like, ooh, okay, girl. Ooh.
I remember that one day we was on the phone. You was like, hold on, I'm writing. I was like, if you don't stop writing every single thing I'm saying, I'm just talking shit at this point.
Yo, like, you gotta retain the information. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, I gotta highlight those things, though. You know. So for me, I'm gonna write it out. I'm gonna write it. She'd be like, "Oh Lord."
Ask me like, what did you just say? Girl, I don't know. I'm just talking. Well, no, I don't remember. Well, you said this. Oh yeah, I did say that. Okay, hold up. Okay, yeah, this is what I said.
I'm gonna end it here though, because we only got a few minutes. But the other day, ChiChi said, well, it wasn't ChiChi, it was Spirit speaking through ChiChi using as a vessel. And Spirit said, you understand, but now you have to be in a position where you understood. And I was like, what? It's like, yeah, you know. But you don't always, you know it, right? You know it, but that doesn't mean that you are using information that you have learned and applied it, and really, so that way you can say, yep, I understood what you said because I used that information.
It works vice versa too, because, just because you understood something doesn't mean that you actually understand. You know what I mean? You can be like, oh, well, I understood her circumstances, but until you go through something similar to that person, now you have a different understanding of what that feels to go through. You know what I mean? Like you could have the same thing, like you could have empathy for someone, you know what I'm saying? But until you actually go through it, then you'll understand.
Yeah.
There's a lot of understanding, understood, and Spirit will definitely humble you and humble all of us. Can you hold on? We are actually recording. Lord, like my children do not know how to act. So we're gonna end it here, y'all. Sorry.
Yeah. But this was good. We wanted to just introduce ourselves, give you a little background on who we are, what we are, setting our intentions to do with this podcast. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Y'all, I get a brain fog because I am hungry. I'm fasting. So, y'all gotta excuse the moments of pausing, but
hey, I was like, I'm gonna be energized for today.
Nah, I needed to fast. I needed to reset for the week. So yeah, but I'm gonna break my fast. 12 o'clock.
Well, I just want to thank all you guys for being here with us, and I hope that everything that you heard from all of us, or from both of us, gives you inspiration. It helps to be a guiding light, to let you know that you're not alone. I just pray that everyone that comes across this video, that it opens up your heart. I pray for nothing but, good vibes and good things to happen for everyone that comes across this video. And that comes from the depths of my heart. I just, as much as I embrace my dark, I really want to bring light. And I hope that you guys can see the light within both of us. And I hope we get to see you next time.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.